Welcome back to the Lead Yourself First podcast with me, Yvette Rajikopa, also known as Yvette Alu on digital platforms, where we speak everything leadership, business, and personal growth. So today I have a lovely guest, Thembi. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Yvette.
Thank you for coming through. And I wanted to have you here. We've met a couple of times, right? But I wanted to have you here because you're such a person that shows up with authenticity wherever you go, right? And I thought, this is someone I want to hear about your journey and how you got to be the person that you are.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself,
Okay.
right? And just introduce yourself to me again and the audience.
Okay, so I am a Johannesburg-based multi-hyphenate. I started my journey in the creative space working as an art curator in various galleries and organizations that were cultural. I then moved, alongside my activism, I moved into working for government while doing stakeholder management and communications. I did about 3 years of public policy work that was mainly inclusion focused, particularly for the LGBTQIA plus community. And shortly after that, I moved into PR and talent management, where I was basically working with artists, assisting them with their brands and so on. So as you can see, I'm quite dynamic in the work that I've done, but the through line in all of that has always been about uplifting marginalized people and allowing them to find their purposes. Yeah.
How did you find your purpose? Because if you are helping other people find their purpose, how did you find yours?
Well, I think my purpose found me.
Okay.
I've always been someone who is quite vocal about issues, socioeconomic issues. I've always been someone who was interested in the arts. And as a young person, that always felt quite confusing, not knowing how to pull these different threads together. But I think my purpose has always not been about a job per se, but always about the upliftment of people. So just through investing in my interests, having side quests and hobbies, finding out what I was talented in, be it speaking, writing, be it managing stakeholders, building partnerships, that work came organically. Most of the work I did or have done was not necessarily even in existence while I was studying. So I think the work eventually found me just by showing up and doing the things that I was passionate about.
I love that the work eventually found you. And I think that's actually what purpose is, because people think it's like their
100%.
job or the thing that they're doing, but the thing you're doing is the expression of self. And by
Exactly.
expressing self, then you step into the purpose.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I really love how you unpacked that and how you said it found you. I love that. I love that. And I think it takes a lot of like the stress just regarding when will I find my purpose? When will I live in my purpose? It's like just be yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You also spoke about starting your journey as an art curator, then you moved into public policy, then you moved into all these different spaces.
Yes.
How do you integrate these different parts of yourself in a cohesive purpose?
I think we live in a world of legibility where you have to have other people understand you. And in our journey, sometimes we don't even understand ourselves. So I think I first had to contend with understanding that I am the synthesis of disparate things. And I had to understand that it doesn't always have to be coherent to the next person. I'm still writing my story, and all of these different experiences haven't been for nothing. It's only now, as I approach more senior levels in my career, that I can pull from different parts. And being a person who entered the creative industry and saw a lot of ills, be they social, be they professional, I realized that creatives are not equipped to deal with business, or they don't know the policies that affect them. And through my education, I was able to equip myself, be it studying heritage management or studying public policy, because that's where I ended up. I've always been someone interested in knowledge and education. So I gave myself the tools, and obviously listening to people like yourself, life coaches and so on, to figure out how can I pull these different skills together and how can I equip other people.
Okay, so you basically just kind of followed your own path and equipped yourself with the
Definitely.
tools. And
Definitely.
then now you find yourself using those tools in different spaces. So it's
Yes.
not like you're pulling yourself in different parts. You're just using the
Mm-hmm.
tools that you have and the skills that you
Yes.
have. I
Yes.
completely get that, as well as somebody who is also in various spaces,
Mm.
because sometimes you meet people and then they're like, oh, I know you as a coach and
Yeah.
a neuro-linguistic program. And then someone's like, oh, you were my business coach. So
Yes.
I completely get that
Mm.
being multifaceted and expressing those different parts of self.
Mm.
You're also a life coach,
Yes, I am.
right? What made you, I know you spoke about the creatives and the struggles that you saw in them, but
Mm.
what made you step into life coaching?
I think I've always been passionate about health and wellness. So I took a personal journey of wanting to figure myself out. I was dealing with a lot of things from a mental perspective, a physical perspective. I wanted to step into the woman of my dreams. And I undertook a journey with my clinical therapist, where she also happens to be a life coach as well. So she would equip me with both the therapeutic talk therapy side of things, but also through her life coaching expertise, she gave me direct tools to empower myself and change habits on a practical level. So, being able to self lead, I then thought maybe I can also equip other people through my expertise. So, I did the neuro linguistic programming certification, which I know you're also certified in as well. And I felt that through the changes I made in my life, be it weight loss, sobriety, leaving toxic relationships, so many things that happened in my life that allowed me to get to where I am today. I then was able to assist other people through those skills.
And one of the things that you've been championing for is like holistic wellness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I live for your WhatsApp post. When you post meals,
Yes.
I'm like, she doesn't know it, but
Yes.
I am documenting this. I'm like, oh, sweet potato and eggs and lentils. I didn't think of that.
Yes,
You
yes,
know,
yes,
or
yes.
cheese, cottage cheese. You're a big
I
cottage cheese
love
fan.
my cottage
Yes,
cheese. I love my oatmeal.
exactly. I'm like, I should have the chia seeds in that
Mm,
thing. I didn't
mm,
think of that.
yes.
So I absolutely live for those posts. And I
Mm,
think they're helping a lot of people as well. Because a lot of us are in this trying to figure out the balance of things.
mm.
And sometimes you need tools from here,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
from here and from here. And
mm-hmm.
your posts on food alone are
Yes,
like really helpful for me. So I want to know, in terms of holistic um self-care, right?
yes.
As a leader,
Mm,
what would you say are the things that you have done that have
mm,
helped you to take care of yourself as a leader in the different spaces that you occupy? But
mm-hmm.
what would you say what do you think people need to focus more on as well when it comes to taking care of themselves as leaders?
Sure. I think it's firstly taking your life into your own hands. There are a lot of messages on social media, various platforms that tell us who to be, how to be, what to eat, when to wake up. So there's a lot of oversaturation in how to exist. And the first point is to take your life into your own hands. My routines are grounded in my values. So it's not just about regimens that are trending or things that are popular. It's a lot about what speaks to me as an individual. Through rigorous work that I've done in therapy and outside of therapy, I've had to understand that the body is holistic, as you're saying. You're not just a physical being, you're also a mental being, a spiritual being, and you exist within society. So I really prefer a more holistic way of integrating yourself. And by doing the meditation, the journaling, by doing the movement exercises, making sure that you eat well and not just fad diets, but things that actually nourish your body. There's so much that can be done with that. As a person who's recovering from burnout, I've had to learn what to put into my body to fuel me, to ensure that I'm able to be a whole person. So I definitely think that integrating those various elements of yourself and also finding regimens and routines that are tailored to you, not just what you see on social media or or other forms of media.
That's so true, because sometimes you'll read something and it says you have to wake up at 5 a.m. in order
Yep.
to be, a successful person. And then you're like, I'll take that. Right.
Mm,
Then the next
mm.
time it's like, no, follow your psychiatric rhythm,
Yes.
which is probably the healthier one,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Waking up when your body tells you to
Mm,
wake up. But of course, sleeping so that you can wake up on time. That's why you must wake up at
100%.
like 1 p.m. every day.
Yes.
But like, there's so much information out there. And I
Mm,
think I love what you said about creating your routines based on your values. I think
yep.
that's something to really take note of. You
Mm,
spoke about burnout, right?
mm,
There's an article that you wrote,
mhm.
right, on your girl boss. I think, what is it called? Girl
Girl bossing
bossing.
under duress.
Yes, girl bossing under duress. Love the title.
Thank
And
you.
there's an article that you wrote about how you experienced burnout and navigating your journey back to, I guess, finding yourself, I guess, because
Mm-hmm.
burnout does make you feel like you're falling apart, number
Yes,
one, and
yes.
you're not attuned with yourself. So, how did you recover from that specifically? Because you're still
Mm.
recovering, it
I
seems.
am.
Yeah.
I still am. So what happened is I literally fell ill. I was overworking myself to the bone. I had to see a variety of specialists, and the diagnosis I got was that I have aura migraines. And basically, an aura migraine is when your vision is impaired, you have a piercing headache, you feel dizzy, you feel fatigued, you may have nausea, you may throw up. It's a series of things. So I was having these horrible migraines, and I had to see neurologists, ophthalmologists, constantly going to my GP. And I got the medical part intact, and I knew what medications to take. I love that my neurologist is also someone who believes in holistic wellness. So I was told what foods to eat, how to manage stress, because stress was at the core of the issue, how to manage stress, and also how to take care of myself mentally, physically, and everything. Then I had my session with my therapist, and the diagnosis from there was conversion. It's called conversion. So basically, what happens mentally converts into the physical being. Again, it's all holistic. So now, what was stressing me on a mental level started to manifest in the physical body. So as a result, I had to do a serious deep dive in what my stance was, because I was working myself to the bone. Was it because I wanted validation? Was it because I didn't feel worthy and I wanted to prove myself through accolades and work? And I think that really allowed me to step back. I had to step back professionally. I could not work for months. So I literally had to put pause on everything. And because I'm integrated in a community that cares, my family was like, we'll take care of you. Take time out. Come home. We will embrace you fully. And that just gave me so much resting space. And the journey to recovery has been so beautiful because I've had to learn who I actually am outside of work,
Sort of
as a
role.
person who has always identified as I am this, I have these qualifications, I do this. So I've had to completely remove those things and go back to the core of radical self love. And in understanding who I am as an individual, knowing that I'm enough, knowing that I'm loved, however I show up, whatever I put on the table, I am loved. So that has been the philosophical and conceptual journey of recovery. But it takes work. Recovery actually takes work. It's learning to say no to certain things. I've had so many opportunities come my way, and I've had to say, I'm so sorry, I don't have the capacity. I've had to turn down projects, and it's not nice when you're someone who loves to work. I'm passionate about what I do, but I had to take care of me, and now I'm fully coming out of that, and even making public appearances, going to events, doing content creation. Now I'm finding the love for the things that I used to do, but I have boundaries. So I'm no longer working myself to the bone. I need to take care of me first.
There's something that, I think people don't know, that the body stores everything,
Yep.
right? And whatever it is that you're suppressing emotionally and mentally as well,
Yes.
sometimes it shows up in the body,
Yes.
and then you'll find yourself with all these ailments and all of that. And I've also been there too. I've had my hair falling out. I remember during COVID, because I was taking on so much work
Oh
and
my
also taking care
word.
of myself and all of those things. So it eventually does take a toll on your body. And I love that you actually listened to it
Yes.
and you found also the support. I think people forget that it's like you go to the professionals, then you also need support at home,
Yes.
and it speaks into the healing power of community,
Mhm.
right? There's a question that I wanted to follow up with that on that. I think, or just a key takeaway from that is that your body is the vehicle you use to compete to fulfill your purpose. So you have to take care of it so that you can actually live out that, right? But when we don't take care of it, then we can't actually live out all these things that we want
Yes.
to create. And I also love what you said about detaching, right? Detaching your worth from your work.
Yep.
I really love that because a lot of us think I can perform myself into being good enough,
Oh,
right? Or if I perform long enough, if I don't perform, then it means I'm not good enough,
yes.
right? So, and then when you're dealing with the burnout, you're also dealing with the emotions of like sitting at
Yes.
home and being like, but what is my purpose?
Yes.
Who am I without this thing? And that's where I guess the breakthrough in healing is. I want to quickly tap on you're an activist, right, in the LGBTQI community, right? And you also tell me a bit about your work in that
Okay.
space in terms of inclusion, especially in corporate spaces where you
Yes.
said you do workshops in that regard. Tell
Yes.
us a little bit more about that.
So my journey as an activist obviously became pertinent to me because I identify as a queer woman. Um, and knowing that I exist in this body where a lot of queer people across the spectrum are marginalized, there are still hate crimes against queer people in this country, even though we have laws in place to protect us. We're still discriminated against, be it in corporate, be it in everyday spaces. People are still excluded by their communities, people are shunned. So, despite the constitutional protection we have, to say that you can love who you love, you can marry who you love. We don't always have social protection. We don't always, we're not always integrated into society like heterosexual people. So it began from a personal place. And I began that activism early in my life. I started working for government as an LGBTQIA plus stakeholder manager rather. And in that work, I was integrating basically all parts of service delivery to cater specifically to queer people in the Gauteng province. So through that work, constantly being in dialogue with people who did not have sufficient healthcare, who were not housed, who did not have economic opportunities, I started to deal with the everyday reality of queer people, understanding that I am a cisgendered woman, so I don't experience the reality that other trans people have, understanding that I'm femme presenting, so I don't experience the reality that masculine presenting women might have. I started to see my privilege and understanding that certain people are excluded from opportunities as a result. So then I garnered all of my education, all of my networks, all of my knowledge, and began to contribute directly to policies that would uplift queer people in the province. This then opened so many opportunities for me to start doing inclusion and transformation workshops within corporate. I've worked with so many organizations. The most recent one was Sage during Pride Month, where I had the wonderful opportunity to speak to their employees about how to include queer people in the workspace. And that's a very corporate environment. So, from a policy level to an everyday level, it's been such an enlightening and inspiring experience. But apart from that work, I also do a lot of activist work on my social media platforms. I am privileged enough to have large platforms where I can influence with my voice, and whether that's required on a one-on-one perspective or I get the opportunity from a brand to bring awareness to certain things, I always try to do that. So I've consistently used my voice, and whether it's online or offline, it's always a pleasure for me to do. And surprisingly enough, I was not burnt out from doing that kind of work. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the thread of the authenticity in everything that you do, that you stand for what you believe in. Even if you're standing for wellness, you're like,
Yes.
I'm there fully.
Yes.
If you're
Yes.
saying I'm standing for the things that I believe in terms of my identity, then you're there fully. And it's so visible on your platforms that you throw yourself fully into everything.
I really do.
Yeah, you do. And it really shows. And I think that speaks into your heart for certain things, but also even your conviction, for certain things. And I really appreciate sharing the space with you, because I think it's also calling me to say, what are the things that I stand for, and am I throwing myself into them fully,
Yes.
and just embracing that authenticity of being self and expressing self in different spaces. What is one tip, real quick,
Okay.
that you would give to somebody that will help them to stay authentic in different spaces?
I think authenticity is a practice. So it's not a theory, it's not a personality trait. You have to commit to practicing it daily, be it through setting boundaries, be it through not shrinking yourself, understanding that you don't have to show up as yourself, your whole self in every space. Sometimes you'll show up as a speaker, as a writer. Sometimes you'll show up as a sad girl, or you'll show up as a bubbly person. But it's about aligning with self and saying, this is who I am right now, and I'm going to bring that self. It doesn't have to be the full self, especially in workspaces, but stay true to yourself and don't shrink yourself.
Love that. Stay true to yourself and don't shrink yourself. I want us to quickly do this card game before you leave. And so these are Lead Yourself First conversation cards. And you're just going to choose a card from one of these cards.
Okay.
And I'm going to read out the question to you, and you'll have to answer it.
Okay. There you are.
I love how everybody panics. Like, which one should I choose? So funny. All right. The question is, what does self-care look like for you?
Oh, perfect.
That is perfect. Yeah.
Self-care to me looks like it's customized. It is not based on external realities per se. It's not based on coercion or what other people tell you. You have to tailor it to yourself and to your needs, and of course to your values. That is what self-care looks like.
What do you do first thing in the morning?
Okay, I wake up, I do something called morning pages, where you basically write 3 pages of everything that's in your brain. No structure, it's just a thought dump. 3 pages of that. I do devotions, so I'll open my Bible, look at the verse of the day, meditate on that verse. I do prayer, and I'm very rigorous about this. It doesn't matter what time I wake up, I have to do it. And it takes about 30 minutes. Then I do yoga, and it can be 10 minutes, it can be 20 minutes, but I've gotten myself into the habit of moving my body every day. This is also what was prescribed to me by my neurologist. So I need to move all of my ligaments. And straight after that, I get into the day, whether I have breakfast, I shower, I get on with my work. But that first hour is dedicated to me and me only.
All right, Thembi, thank you for sharing that. I've seen all the Bible verses,
Yes.
the food, everything that you, some of it, most of it I've seen on your WhatsApp status. So everything that you're saying, you're actually living. But I want to appreciate you for showing up today. I'm showing up as yourself, and just sharing your thoughts. I really appreciate you being here with us today, and I hope to have you here again someday.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Yvette. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you. I always love bumping into you. And surprisingly enough, I was downstairs speaking to someone, telling them I'm on your podcast, and they were like, "Oh, Yvette, the popular life coach." And I kid you not. So it means that word is on the street. You are the life coach to be with.
Thank you so much, Thembi. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today on the Lead Yourself First podcast with me, Yvette Ratikopa. Do comment what resonated with you in the comments, and we'll check you out on the next episode.